Good job. Yes. 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 Hey, Pop Pop. We're gonna be starting off working on a couple things. She's ready to tug. So we have our long line. I also have my retractable leash. I'm gonna see which one I like better for this exercise. Off, sit. Yes. That was very good. She has a habit of not knowing how to turn it off. And then she's going for your hands or your thighs or your ankles, and she's nipping you up. So we're also going to be working on that as well, managing that overexcited, over arousal, making sure that she's not reverting to that. The mosquitoes back here are crazy, so we're gonna have to make this real quick. Making sure that she's not reverting to that really just unwanted behavior. Nobody wants to get nipped up and bit by a dog. So with our long line, we're going to be working on recall. So our cue or our command is going to be come. We're going to mark and reward when she moves towards her, and we're going to give her some guidance with the long line. I'm using this toy for motivation, also reinforcement. So when she gets to me, she gets to tug, 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 and then we turn it off. We time out, and then we go back into it. I already see pretty quickly that I'm probably end up switching to the retract, but it's all good. Poppy, come. Good job, good job. Off. Off. Sit. Yes. Come. Yes. Sit. Good. Come. So instead of her jumping up on me when she gets to me, she's gonna sit. Happy, come. Good job. Sit. Yes. Poppy, come. Yes. Off. Yes. So she doesn't know what off means just yet. Off. She's still figuring it out, but she's gonna know what it means. Poppy, come. Yes. Are unbearable. Off. Yes. 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 Off. Okie dokie then. So we are about to get started with our e-collar training. So when you get started with e-collar training, of course you can't just dive head first straight into asking, giving commands and respective results. You pretty much kind of piggyback off of where we left off with the come command and using the long line. Stimulation from the collar is going to replace that pull or that tug that we used for guidance when we did the come exercise or when we did the recall exercise. And so we're pretty much going to do the same thing. We're going to start off by pairing it with that long line. So we're going to kind of bridge that association to understand that, a buzz or a little buzz from this means the same thing as a tug on that long line. And then eventually we get to the point where we just are using the e-collar and she understands what the different tones or vibrations are sort of prompting her to do. So today we're using our mini educator. We got our remote transmitter right here, our collar with the receiver. And a lot of times, most dog trainers would recommend that you upgrade these prongs right here because the contact points are kind of inconsistent. And so you might not always be getting or sending, or the dog might not be actually getting the stimulation that you're sending because these either aren't penetrating through the fur hard enough or whatever the case may be. And so for one, you want to make sure that you have a really snug fit on your leash. There are other types of collar on your collar. There are other types of collars and leash locks and connectors that you can also use on this. This is just the one that came out the box, so we're gonna go with that for now. If it gets to a point where his pet parents need to upgrade these contact points, it would make totally sense if they wanted to go ahead and do that, but we're not gonna worry about that today. What I did see as a suggestion is to use a Furminator to try and loosen up some of that undercoat, some of that dead hair that may be in there and that may be making it harder to make contact with the skin. And so we're going to start off finding Poppy's working level, and then we're going to start basically training with the e-collar. We're going to start conditioning with the e-collar. We're not going to do a whole lot today. I'm not going to expect a whole lot from her today. These next few days are just going to be conditioning. And then when we move from there, we're going to actually start applying them to more commands like sit, like place, like down, like stay. And so she's pretty familiar with those basic commands. So now we're going to work on getting her conditioned and used to the e-collar. So let's get started with finding her working level. Okie dokie there. Come here. Come here. Alright, so we're going to, first we're going to start off just a little comb. Can I just brush it? When you're fitting your e-collar, you definitely want to make sure it's the contact points are on either side of the neck. You don't want to put it right on the trachea. You don't want to put it up here in the cut. You want to keep it on either side of the neck, left or right, it really doesn't matter. But what we're going to do here is just try to eliminate as much of that dead, loose hair that may interfere with that contact. So you can do this every time you put your e-collar on. I'm sure it's not a terrible idea. You don't necessarily have to do it every time, but I'm sure it would be quite helpful outside of course, upgrading these contact points. All right, so first we're going to turn on our devices. So for those of you that's never used an e-collar, it goes a little something like this. All right, so here we have our mini educator remote transmitter. Our power button is going to be right back here where it says on, off. I'm going to hold that down till we get some power.
So I'm going to bring this all the way down because right now we're not really sure what her working level is just yet. So we're going to bring that down to 0. Also, we want to make sure that we see just C. So you see how it says M and C? Also, I'm going to hold that M/C button down back here until we only see C. There it is. So this is going to give us continuous stimulation. So when we touch this button, either one of these buttons up here, then that's going to give us, if we tap, then we'll just get a tap. If we hold down, then it'll give us a continuous stimulation or tone if we use this T button on this side. So to turn this on, and I can't lie, this had me a little baffled at first. You have a red dot here. You have a red dot here on the collar. We're going to touch those together until that light comes on. And there you have it, your collar's on. Alright. We also have this light feature. If we tap that, we got a blinking light. Tap it again, we got a steady on light. This is super helpful, super useful, especially if you're doing off leash or you're using this at night on a little night walk, night run, night hike. Tap it again and it's off. So let's get into it. So basically, when you're looking for a dog's working level, you're looking for the point of stimulation where you can tell that they're noticing the stimulation. So their ear might lift up, or they might turn their head to the side. You know, where the vibration or where the buzz is coming from. That's how you know you're at a good level. You don't want it to be too high, again, because that's going to kind of be more distracting than it needs to be. More distracting than instructive. And this is all about instruction. What we got going on right here? Yes, there we go. I think we found it. Yes. So of course the goal is not to freak her out. That's the whole point of this going through and finding her working level. We don't want her to be afraid of the e-collar, but we do want her to respond to the e-collar. All right, so we have dropped in the Petco. Gonna do a little shopping for Poppy. I definitely want to get her some really good training treats. But we also need some high value treats. I've noticed that she's a very gentle little spirit, and so the e-collar is, even at a very low setting, even with just the vibration, it's a lot more intense than she's kind of prepared for. And so she's kind of jumping every time she feels even like the slightest vibration. And so I want to make sure that the reward on the other end of that is very, very high value. So we're gonna look around and see what we can grab real quick. Now these look pretty promising. Fruitables. All right, let's see what we got in these. No added soy, no corn or wheat. That's fantastic. Dun, dun, dun. Chicken and cranberry. That's really good. So that's protein, that's antioxidants. Got some superfoods in there. I think we're gonna try these. We got pumpkin and apple, pumpkin and blueberry. I'm gonna go with the chicken and cranberry. I feel like that's a safe place to start. I already know that she likes chicken, and so incorporating the cranberry shouldn't be too much extra. So this right here, I think would be a fantastic high value treat. I'm not sure how Poppy is with fish. She seems pretty food motivated for the most part. I don't think that they didn't mention anything that she doesn't like, but I think for high value, this is a great place to start. Plus, it's gonna be a great addition to her diet for skin and coat health, being that it's fish. So you got your fish oils, you get with the protein, just a whole bag of dried anchovies. All right, so I would definitely, I'm gonna go with Pure Bites versus your Pet Botanics. Your Pet Botanics and Zooks are your typical training treats. Nothing wrong with them at all, they're great. But I think that going with something a little bit more exotic might be a little bit more motivating for her. I don't know how much lamb that she has in her diet, but I'm sure that taste will taste a lot different from her kibble and be a little bit more encouraging versus just going with your typical peanut butter or chicken or even salmon. If I didn't go with these Pure Bites, I was probably going to go with the Zook salmon, but we're going to see how these roll for our training treats. Yeah, and they're really small, super tiny. So that's going to allow us to get a lot of repetitions in. There's 200 treats in this bag. And so, matter of fact, I think I probably get 2 because I'm going to be here for a while. And so I definitely want these to stretch a good bit. I think these have some great potential for not only high value snacks, but just great additions to the diet. Chicken is a great source of protein, but coconut is also a great addition for skin health, coat health, digestive health. Coconut has a lot of really good benefits. And so I cannot not get this. Okay, so today our evening session pretty much mirrors our morning session with our practice of learning how to respond to pressure on the leash and keeping her focus on me. You see, we have some neighbors here, so she got a little distracted, but she did turn away. And then here we're going to see where I randomly stop. We see where there's a lot of pressure on the leash, and then we give her an opportunity to relieve that pressure. And so what we're going to do is mark and reward when she basically eases off of that pressure. And I like to look at it sort of like, the brake or the accelerator when you're driving the car. And so as long as that leash is loose, like you see it here, we can go. But as soon as it gets tight, that's red light. When we get loose again, we have the green light and we can walk forward. So those are just kind of the tips and tricks when it comes to teaching your dog how not to pull on a leash and how to respond to that leash pressure.